Welcome to the Community Hour here on Unity 101, South's leading Asian and ethnic radio station, broadcasting on 101.1 FM and online at unity101.org. I'm Geeta Uppal, Senior Access and Outreach Officer at Southampton Solent University, and in today's Community Hour with my guests, Karen Hawksworth, Strategic Lead for Nursing and Health, and Neil Glasspool, Course Leader for BSc Mental Health Nursing, both from Southampton Solent University, will be talking about raising the nursing educational offer. Good afternoon, Karen and Neil.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to Unity 101, and can I just say thank you very much for taking the time out of your busy schedules, because I know you're very busy, to be here with our listeners. So, Karen, I'm going to kick off with the first question with you, and of course coming to you, Neil. Can you tell us a bit about your background and what your role entails at Southampton Solent University?
Well, my background, I hope I don't bore everybody at home. I've been nursing for over 25 years now. So originally inner city Birmingham girl, and did my training in Bristol and spent the predominantly most of my career in the emergency department. I was one of those children that ran around bandaging people, taking people's temperatures, that type of thing. So I love minor injuries, and the emergency department really is a variety. And then spent a lot of time training the students, which then, of course, leads you to work at the university, because that is where our next nursing workforce starts, back at the university. And I think I loved sharing all my practice with them. So after a little while, I became the course leader over at Solent University with my happy band of people that I have over there. And at one point, we had over 300 students on programmes. So, we're happy, we're popular, and all those nursing skills that everybody loves to do. This is what I spend my day doing now.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And Neil, over to you then. And can you tell us a little bit about your background, where you're from, and what do you do I know what you do at Southampton Solent University, but for our listeners, a little bit more about what your role entails.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am a local boy. I'm from Swaling in Southampton. I grew up here. And I went to university, unfortunately, I'm going to have to admit, I went to university in Portsmouth.
Oh, well.
Where I did my nurse training. That was over 30 years ago I started that. And I have worked ever since as a mental health nurse. So I did my training when we still had the county asylum. Knoll Hospital was still open, a big hospital. And I've watched mental health services transform into much more community-based programmes. And that's where I did most of my work, working in the community, working in crisis resolution services, and then also with young people with their first episode of psychosis. And then my last part was in therapy services, working as a therapist. And I've been at Solent for 8 years.
Right.
And I'm currently the course leader for mental health nursing, which means that I coordinate the course, I liaise with the students. I'm the person who's basically taking the reins.
Right. Wonderful. Thank you very much. And once again, you're both very welcome here on Unity 101. So if you could then, coming back to you, Karen, if you can tell our listeners about the range of courses, the nursing courses particular, that are available at Southampton Solent.
So at Solent University, we try and make sure that we've got an offer for everybody. So whether you still require your English and maths, we have various foundation degrees so that we can set you on your way.
Right.
Unfortunately, it's still quite old-fashioned getting into nursing. You do need those English and maths passes, but that cannot hold you back. So we do offer a foundation degree, which will expose you to lots of opportunity that we have. Then you start coming to your registered occupation. So things like, as Neil's just said, we run the registered mental health programme, registered adult nursing programme. We have a thriving apprenticeship programme with a great apprenticeship team behind us. And then we've also got odd things. They're things that people don't know about, like a health play specialist.
Right.
Did you know you could be a health play specialist?
I didn't know that. Karen, can I just ask you to come a little bit closer to the mic? Yeah.
And so health play specialists, and we've got things like nursing associates, so registered nursing associates on the block as well.
Right.
In comparison with things like nursing. So, whether you want to come in as an 18-year-old, my eldest student is 62,
right.
And it does not matter where you start. We've probably got a course that can get you into healthcare. And if you decide actually the healthcare, the hands-on isn't what I want to do, but I do want to work in the community, we've also got our social work programmes, which are really, really popular as well. So hopefully we can build on your skill set and get you out.
And you're working with, obviously, the NHS with all these courses, and they're accredited by professional bodies.
We are validated by the Nursing and Midwifery Council, which means that when you finish one of the registered courses, you can be invited to join the Nursing and Midwifery Council registration status.
Right.
We've got lots of postgraduate courses as well. So really, it's just deciding where you want to start, and we can help you on your way.
Brilliant. So then coming to you, Neil, Karen mentioned the range of courses that are on offer. In terms of the entry requirements, both Karen and yourself, if you can talk to us about the range of qualifications that are accepted, particularly in the nursing areas. And let's say if somebody wanted to do the mental health nursing, for example. You mentioned, Karen, about GCSEs, they're important, but you haven't got them. Don't worry, we can get you on a foundation course. So talk to me a bit about that. Is there any additional selection criteria as well as your sort of academic qualifications?
Yeah, so there are a number. So we are, as Karen said, we're accredited by or validated by the Nursing Midwifery Council. So they do set the standards of entry coming in, which is why it's always that English and Maths GCSE grade 4 and above is part of their requirements. The other requirements really for nursing courses particularly, everybody has to undergo a values-based interview.
Right.
But it's not, I personally, and I know with my adult nursing colleagues, we don't look for people necessarily with experience and skills. What we're looking for is people with the desire to become a nurse in the future, because the course is about teaching the skills and the experience. So the values-based interview is about learning about that person. We get to meet people, we interview them by finding about them. And essentially what I'm looking for is the person I'm willing to leave with my mum.
Right.
That's what I want to hear from our applicants, is that they are somebody who shares the values, who are caring, compassionate,
of course,
and trustworthy.
Indeed. So mental health is a huge, vast, complex area of work in the medical profession. So in terms of, obviously you said you're looking for somebody who is caring, but what else do they need to have that would perhaps say, yes, you could be that mental health nurse?
Yeah, so the skills that a mental health nurse will need will be about being a good communicator, being able to engage with people, being non-judgmental.
Yes.
You're going to be working with people from all backgrounds and all different areas within our society, which means you're going to be introduced to different parts of that of the community that you may never have met before, that you may never come across. But also working with younger people, older people. So you've got to be adaptable, changeable, be willing to put yourself out there, really. So we have 6 C's of nursing, really, that we really do want, and I'm going to try and now do all 6, which is being caring, compassionate, a good communicator, courageous, because sometimes you have to make courageous decisions.
Of course.
Committed. And
Karen Hawksworth.
there is a 6th one which I never really remember. But basically, it's about all of the things that is about the committed. I did it. But our mental health nurses are going to be out there. They're going to be working with people, listening to people. Sometimes hearing stories that are very sad, and sometimes hearing things about the worst things that humans can do to other humans. So you've also got to have a lot of resilience within there, and the ability to reflect and be able to process that. Which that's part of the job, is about being supported in doing that.
Yes.
But also it's about helping people recover. When I trained as a nurse, I say 30 years ago, it was about people being in community, building up and going to the community and being able to survive in community.
Yes.
The change over that time now means that we know people will recover. So we are now teaching our students to help people to recover and go on and continue to thrive and live successful lives.
Thank you. So coming to you, Karen, with the same question. So Neil talked broadly mainly about mental health nursing. In terms of adult nursing, do the entry requirements differ? Do you have an additional selection criteria?
No, so those are the standards for, this is obviously if you want to be a registered nurse.
Right.
So as Neil said, we are validated by the Nursing Midwifery Council. Those are the standards. So there is that interview where we just have a very general chat about, what is your motivator? Why do you want to come into nursing? And then obviously we talk about qualifications. But if you're not ready to start that journey, then there are other things that, you can do to get yourself into nursing, which don't require those type of entry requirements.
Right, thank you. So then staying with you for a moment then, Karen, and then please, Neil, jump in as well. Obviously, there are many universities that have similar course titles to your course areas. So therefore, from a prospective student or a parent's perspective, what makes Solent unique and different from other universities, and why should they really be considering your respective courses, for example?
That is a really good question, and it's one we're asked a lot. The validated courses across the UK are exactly that.
Yes.
So a nursing course will be the same,
right?
Whatever you choose to do. What people like about Solent is the community atmosphere that we have within the university. So we're not one of the larger universities, we're more of a community university that is based in the community.
Yes.
We know our community, we know our students, and that way we can be supportive.
Of course.
Anybody who requires that little bit of extra help, that bit of support, anything that's going on with their family, we generally will know about it. And they know us too. So it's something that we've built that relationship with. And that isn't just coming from me. That's what our students tell us. Why Solent? And they'll say, I know someone that was there. They were supported. They were helped. And actually, I think I need that too.
Yes. And Neil?
Yeah, I was just going to add to that really. Yeah, it is really one of the biggest things. So what we are really well known for is about that support. But so, for example, I have over 100 students on the 3 years of my degree programme, and I know each one of them by name.
Yes.
And I'm aware of what's going on. If there is anything in the background that might be impacting on them, I'm aware of it. But it's also... we have quite a good relationship between our lecturing team and the students. So it's more of a peer type relationship. We're all bringing something to that party.
Yes.
And the other part is really actually working locally, and being local means that I've got fantastic links with our local providers. We have one major mental health provider in the local region, but it's the provider that I worked for throughout my career in the different guises. So when our students are out in practice, we are very proactive in engaging with them out there.
Yes.
It's one of the things that I've really encouraged my team and our nursing teams to do, is to be visible in practice, not just be people who teach in a university, because we're all registered nurses, or have a professional registration, and so we've all got that experience, and then we can be bringing that and actually, so we are out there and liaising with our students out in practice.
No, definitely. So if you've just joined us, you're listening to the Community Hour here on Unity 101, and I'm in conversation with Karen Hawksworth, Strategic Lead for Nursing and Health, and Neil Glasspool, Course Leader, BSc Mental Health Nursing, both from Southampton Solent University. And the time is coming up to 3:15, and we're having a wonderful discussion about nursing, all the different courses, so on and so forth. So coming back to you then, Karen, can we talk a little bit about, in terms of somebody, let's say an 18-year-old thinking about nursing, and then you said, the oldest student you have is a 62-year-old, for example. How do you manage to, from that sort of a vast age gap, on life experiences, how do you then manage to teach students that come from quite wide spectrum of life?
I think the joy of Solent University is that we really celebrate those differences. Yes. Whilst our 62-year-olds, I don't have many, but we have one, they will say, the youngsters will bring something to the table that they hadn't thought about. They bring an energy and a dynamic and enthusiasm, whereas they will bring life experience, and they're learning from each other. And the way we teach at Solent University is a lot through simulated practice learning, a lot of real world learning. So we put them through a lot of scenarios. And as Neil said, we'll be dealing with things that are really quite difficult for people to deal with. Bad news, things where things haven't gone right for people. And remember, we're with people on their darkest hour sometimes. That's what a nurse does.
Yes.
We are with people when things go wrong.
Of course.
When things don't go to plan, or when people have bad news. So really, sometimes the experience in the room can lead our 18-year-olds who are new. Then saying that, we have some 18-year-olds who've been through an awful lot. We have looked after children who have come into nursing and social work. We have people who've been on the Child Protection Register who now want to make a difference. So I think it's a melting pot of all the cultures, all the identities in our Southampton communities, and they just learn from each other. That's the way we're set up at Solent.
Great, thank you. And then same for you then, Neil, of course, with the mental health nursing, you do have very young students to more mature students. In the same way, how are they supported when they are on the course?
Absolutely. So part of their training is about learning to be able to manage and process that. And so our lecturing team are already experienced mental health nurses and cognitive therapists. And so we offer a lot of individual support within our core team. And we offer, each year has an academic who's in charge of that year. And they offer reflective practice with the students, where the students are able to talk through and process good and bad situations, and so celebrating the good, which we do have a lot of at times. And But also the university itself is built on being a really supportive university. So we actually have a centralised student hub which links in with our our therapy and wellbeing team.
Right.
And we liaise really directly with them. So actually when there are times when I've been supporting a student and actually they need a bit more, we'll go and walk down there together. And that's the level of support that we try and promote with our students.
Wonderful, thank you. So I'm just going to come back to Karen. In terms of, we've spoken about all the support that the students get, and you alluded to a little bit about, working with diverse range of student body. So in terms of your student body, and what sort of challenges or barriers do you think some of them face when they're entering higher education or looking at nursing in particular, particularly our listeners who are from the Asian and minority ethnic backgrounds? Could you talk a little bit about students that have come from those backgrounds, what their experiences have been like, and how could they be role models and sort of present that view?
Oh, do you know what? On my soapbox, one of my favourite subjects. I'm a true believer in nursing should reflect the community that it serves.
Yes.
When people imagine a nurse, they have this awful Carry-On film image, young white female.
Yes.
When actually, if you look at the majority of especially our NHS workforce, is a global workforce that is made up of men and women.
Yes.
And from, every continent in the world, every country in the world is represented in nursing. And we try and do that at Solent. We make sure that we don't have an unconscious bias through anything that is written down. We have made a big attempt to decolonialise our curriculum. We do make students think on a global health level. Not everything is the NHS. And
Yes.
what I love about my international students is that they bring a whole diversity to the learning. Because the NHS is a very English way of teaching nursing. And
Yes.
the NHS is one view, one way of delivering. So when we are talking about global disasters, when we are talking about global pandemics, our international students bring a real interesting diversity to some of the subjects that we're discussing. So really, the more we can get into the room that represents everybody,
Yes.
the better their nurse education will be, because that is the population they'll be looking after.
Absolutely. And Neil, just coming to you, particularly from your course area, mental health nursing, a lot of the communities that we serve here at Unity 101, mental health is still largely a huge stigma in those communities.
Yep.
So do you have students coming from those backgrounds, and how do you, when they're working out in the community, how do they kind of handle that particularly?
That's a very good question. Yes, you're absolutely right. And I've worked within Southampton. I've worked within the communities here. So actually, what we do is it's an area to build on. Definitely an area that we haven't quite got right. And I think you're right. Stigma is still there. So I have a number of international students on the course, mainly coming from the continent of Africa.
Yes.
Particularly Cameroon and Nigeria are two main areas, but they bring in, as Karen says, they bring in that information and that background, and we actually look at transcultural nursing as part of their training to help them recognise different attitudes and understandings, and also not just the basic thing, but also about cultural understanding about health and illness, for example, what might be caused by heat, what might be caused, we may, and also how some cultures don't even have a language for depression, doesn't exist.
Of course.
Psychosis doesn't exist, or psychosis may be a positive thing
Yes.
in one country and seen as a negative in another.
Yes.
So it's really important that we teach that to the students and we support them.
Yes.
But also then we also look at bringing those students, bringing in local population to come and talk to the students and explain that to them as well, just so cultural and also on religious grounds as well. So we've recently had Jehovah's Witnesses come in to talk to the students about, so they can understand from their background, their understanding and belief.
Indeed, yes. Indeed. So it really is encapsulating, bringing those things together. So it's enriching you as educators, as well as sort of providing that for your students as well. So then, Karen, we're on this topic of sort of diversity, etc. So we know your team are excellent at supporting all the access and widening participation initiatives that we have at the university. And of course, the university has a strong commitment to widening participation, particularly access for underrepresented and disadvantaged learners in society and groups. So from that perspective, can you talk a bit about the work that your team has done to support those learners particularly to access opportunities at Solent? And where does that work start? What age?
Definitely. I mean, I opened the interview by saying I was that child that was running around in the nurse's uniform when they were 5. And really, I can spot a nurse in a room full of 5-year-olds. I can spot the nurse. So really, it can start as young as you want to. You know, we've done work with our primary schools. Obviously, the majority of work that we do starts at about 12. You know, we're looking at those science and technology subjects. We're looking, because nursing isn't always about science. It's about the art that goes with it, those communication skills that Neil was talking about. So it's about 12. We go out to lots of our schools and colleges around here. We've got some excellent partners that we're working with in St Mary's and Bevis Valley, you know, in our colleges. And then we really start to then talk to people at GCSE level and say, you know, these are local employers. You can have a local degree and become a part of a local employment, and you can stay local. University isn't all about disappearing away from home. And, you know, it can be, you can stay here, you can get what you want to, and you can contribute. And then obviously our apprenticeship, which is a huge part of what we do, is all about local. It's about staying here and contributing. So we do try and support everybody as far as we can, and really develop that sense of community that they're here and they're going to contribute back. And that seems to be their main motivator. So we will do what we can to support that.
Brilliant. I'll come back to the apprenticeship bit. But I'm going to go to Neil quickly, because Neil, just recently, you delivered a fantastic Year 10 Industry Nursing Insight Day for us. Can you talk from your perspective? Obviously, we're trying to get the students in and give them that experience and showcase Solent and showing them how courses link to careers. From your experience as somebody who delivers and facilitates this, what would you say you get out of it, and how do you approach it?
So, how do I approach it?
You do a great job.
So I really enjoy having them come in, to be honest, because it's always just good fun, really, and that's partly how I like my teaching to be. Anyway, we always end up, particularly if we're talking about something sad, we will end up having some fun at the end, and so. But yes, so having them come in, we give them a hands-on experience. We get them to have a go with our mannequins and to use things. But so they get the opportunity to see what it's like. I get the opportunity to demonstrate and to show them how things are, hopefully encourage them to. One of the areas we're talking about diversity, I'm just going to go back, because one of the areas we're underrepresented in is within men in nursing.
Right, yes.
So 88.5% of the workforce is female, and I'd really love to see that change one day. It is a career for everyone.
Of course.
Sorry, I'll go back now. Sorry, Geeta.
No,
it's my soapbox.
No, that's a very valid point. You're right. When you do see nurses, they are mainly female.
Yes.
So, yes.
Not at Solent, though.
Not at Solent.
Solent.
No.
I'm overjoyed that half of our staff are male.
Yes.
So for a teaching staff, that's something to really crow about.
Yes.
Yeah, so yes, absolutely. And then, so when we have the schools and colleges in, it's just really great to see young people's eyes opened up to the sorts of learning and experiences they can have. And also for them to realise that university isn't just about books and libraries and essays. I mean, I was the first person in my family to go to university, and so nobody could tell me what university was like. I had to go and find out.
Yes.
And actually, for some of these young people who come to us, that's the same for them as well. So,
absolutely. Yeah. And what's the most curious question that anybody has asked you in one of these nursing days? And you know, when they see the anatomash table, and tell me their kind of response. Or no, you're laughing.
I think the biggest response once was when I was unprepared. So we have a room of risk, we like to call it, and it's set up with for public health learning. So there's lots of different things in there that could be a risk to a baby or a child or a family.
Yes.
And what I hadn't prepared for was when a group of young people came in and one of them walked in and went, "Oh, this looks like my granddad's flat."
Oh dear. Okay. Yes. Well, there you are. But at least they know it's real.
Yes.
Yes, they know it. Yes. Great. So then coming back to you, Karen, we did talk a lot about in terms of the courses being very practical and giving that real life learning experience. And obviously they're in a world of work straight away as soon as they come.
Yes.
But what kind of practical and clinical experience do students receive in terms of their nursing courses when they are with you? And can you talk a little bit more about your apprenticeship program as well, please?
Yes, of course. I mean, the apprenticeship program is really popular at the moment. Unfortunately, you do need a job first.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is a bit of a myth buster that we do have to do. So what happens is that your company will sponsor you. A couple of days a week, you'll come into university and you will be taught. And then obviously you go back to your job. So it's difficult being an apprentice. You are earning and learning, which is great, but also you're also earning and working.
Yes.
So there is a little balance that you have to navigate. We talk our apprentices through that, and we have some really good teams of people, as Neil said, to help you. But regarding your skills, this is the fun bit. This is why I work at the university. So everything you expect a nurse to do, we will teach you to do. You're not expected to go out and learn it on the job. You're expected to go and practice out, but you're not. We're 50-50, so 50% taught at the university, 50% in practice. So all the fun things that you would imagine a nurse has to do, and the not so fun things, we will make sure that you are adept at before you go anywhere. And also, we are restricted by, we can't give you too much to do, so it will build up over 3 years. We're not expecting you to run a ward as a first year. What we will expect you to do is probably be able to wash a patient, feed a patient, shave a patient, and talk to a patient. So we start everyone together. And that's the same whether you're a mental health nurse or an adult nurse or wherever you start. We will start with what we call fundamentals of care.
Right, thank you. So coming back to you then, Neil, you spoke about the risk room. Can you tell our listeners a bit about all the wonderful facilities that we have at Solent in terms of, they're getting the real world learning, they're on a hospital ward straight away. Can you describe that for our listeners, please?
Absolutely. So we actually have 2 hospital wards, 2 simulation hospital wards at the moment in the university. They've been built particularly because the courses are only 7 years old when we started adult nursing. So they've been developed over time. So they're new. They're built exactly to the NHS standards, which means they look bigger than you actually see in the NHS. I'm quite surprised. But they are 6-bedded wards, each with a bay. And it looks exactly like you would do if you went into a hospital ward. So you've got all the electrical stuff running around the back. You have drip stands, proper beds, oxygen, which is air that's forced through and pumped and works exactly like oxygen. And then we have all of the equipment that go through that. So in our main 6-bedded wards, and then we also have a community area, which is a GP treatment room, waiting room, and a treatment room.
Right, wonderful.
So students can then work in there as if it were a real practice. So, and to help us do that, we have some fantastic simulation mannequins who blink, they breathe and blink. Put them 2 together, it'll be blink. But they breathe and blink. You can take their pulse. You can catheterize them. You can listen to their breathing. Their chest goes up and down and rises. Everything seems really real, and we can communicate through them as well. So we can be in another room, and we have cameras for the students, so we can watch them and observe them, and they can interact with the patient. And we can set it that the patient may deteriorate or improve, and the students learn how to respond. And they get to do that in the simulation, which means nobody's going to die.
Yes.
Which is great.
That's always a plus.
Yes. Yeah. And we have mannequins. We have lots of different types of mannequins, different ages, and they're all really interesting, exciting. And then we have lots of equipment. So we also have, students be practicing in terms of learning to take blood this week. So we have some fake arms that we'll be using. I've used them and they've never complained once, which is great.
Wonderful.
But so we have loads of equipment within there. Yes. And then we also have all of the other equipment you'd expect to see. And also you would also see the, all of the treatment options that we have in terms of injections, bandages, catheters, lots of different things.
Yes.
We have to employ 2 technicians to organise it. We have so much in there.
Wonderful. That sounds very comprehensive and great place to be. Coming back to you then, Karen. Before I come back to you, if you just joined us, you're listening to the Community Hour here on Unity 101, and I'm in conversation with Karen Hawksworth and Neil Glasspool, both from Southampton Solent University, and we're talking about raising the nursing educational attainment. So back to you then, Karen. In terms of graduate outcomes, which areas of the NHS or social care have your nursing graduates gone into, and if you can mention of any successful alumni that you have?
I'm really proud of my alumni. As we've discussed, they are from a range of backgrounds, all sorts of people that started maybe in their 40s and 50s, along with our 18-year-olds. Our big supporter is University Hospital Southampton, who do take the majority of my adult nurses, but we do stretch across to Bournemouth, right the way across to Brighton. We have people being employed at Frimley Park, right the way up into Basingstoke. I've already got students that are specialists in intensive care. We have research specialists. We've got those manning the emergency departments. And also we've got people that have gone out and made a real difference to our travelling communities. And I'm especially proud of them because that's a really difficult community which to enable that sort of healthcare approach. So we've got people that specialise in managing migrants. We've got people that specialise in drugs and alcohol. So really, when I said about we should reflect the community that we serve, that is what I'm hoping that we are doing. So people are going back out into Hampshire hospitals, which is where they've grown up, and understand the community they're working with.
Brilliant. And then for you, Neil, in terms of mental health nursing?
Yeah, so I'm actually really surprised, pleased to say that the employment rates at the end of the course actually are still really high.
Yes.
So we've seen almost all of our students who graduate go straight into work and often into the employment somewhere that they're choosing to go rather than taking any job. And they've gone all around Hampshire, Isle of Wight, and we had one student who really wanted to do wanted to find out what it was like working in a prison, did her placement there and got a job there, and she's absolutely loving it, which is really great. And our students' achievements have been fantastic. We've had students go up to Parliament to do a poster presentation and share that and liaising. And I've had 2 students who were on the student council, shaping with the Florence Nightingale Foundation up in London, shaping how nurse training is changing. So actually getting involved, which is really important to us as well.
Wonderful, thank you. So we're coming to the end of the community hour very soon. But however, let's say we have somebody who's thinking about, they're not quite sure what they want to do. Nursing could be a route for them. What sort of advice would you give a prospective student who's thinking about studying one of your courses, for example, at Southampton Solent University? And you're going to talk about a little bit about why open days are so important. Karen.
I think the open days are useful, as Neil said, because you can see all of our amazing kit. But just to remember that nursing isn't all about hospitals.
Yes.
We do love all the skills that go on in a hospital, and our hospital walls are very impressive to go and have a look round. What we're trying to do is open this up now and think actually nursing happens in a lot more places. Adult social care is desperately short of staff, and public health, which is what we spend an awful lot of time doing on our courses at Solent, making people aware of the community that they work in and some of the issues. So community simulated practice is something that we've been doing. So students are aware of what facilities are available.
Yes.
But if you're thinking about going into nursing, it isn't all about bandaging.
Yes.
And those sort of skills, which probably was what set me on my way. I'd probably say to people, get a little bit of work experience. And that doesn't mean you have to go mad volunteering.
Yes.
It might be that you're a lifeguard and you really enjoy life support. You might have enjoyed first aid. It might be you're a referee on a Saturday and actually you really like that interaction with children and being that first aider. So we've had people that have come from being a lifeguard coming in, and then we've had people who've got 20 years of healthcare experience and actually they want to make that next step up to being a registrant. It might be that actually you work in the community supporting an adult group and actually you'd like to do that in a more permanent basis. So really it's about bringing those skills that you've already got. As Neil said, we're looking for kind, compassionate people that can show a commitment to improving people's lives. It doesn't have to be something so graphically hands-on as the things that you think in your head that a nurse would do.
Great, thank you. And Neil, just coming back to you in terms of, we will go back to a little bit about the entry requirements. If you, let's say to your year 10 students who've come for the nursing industry day, and do they say to you, what kind of qualifications, what should I go in to do at college next, sir? How would you advise them?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question. So some places will say that they want specifically, I want you to have an A-level in chemistry.
Can I ask you to come a little bit forward? Thank you.
Sorry about that.
That's
So some universities may ask you for an A-level in chemistry or biology. But as I said earlier, those are the things that we teach as we go through the course.
Right.
So I always say to people to think about actually the things that will interest them.
Yes.
Study the things that interest them and the things that they will look to achieve. But the things that they may want to do is think about doing some volunteering or go and have an experience somewhere, so they know that they're looking at the right type of place to go. But if they're interested, the key part is about being their true authentic self, really. Even when people do apply for the course and they get offered a place, they say to me, what can I do to prepare for September? And I'm like, go and enjoy the summer.
Right.
Because we will start learning when the course starts.
Yes, of course. Thank you. So, Karen, coming back to you then, what would be your top tips, let's say? We've got somebody listening right now. They might have come to the open day back on Saturday. What would you say would be the top tip? Okay, what should they really concentrate on or focus on if they want to make that application, let's say, particularly to Southampton Solent?
For starting in September.
Yes.
As Neil said, enjoy the summer. We are going to invest in you over the next 3 years. It's going to be hard work. Nursing degrees are hard work. 2,300 hours worth of hard work has got to go in. It's always useful to have a background in biology. We are going to teach you the biology, so please don't worry about that. I think, do you know what? My main piece of practical advice is if you can't drive, it might be worth thinking about learning
very
to
good.
drive. Think about your nurses. Think about where they are. They work night and day. They work weekends. They work bank holidays. And getting around is particularly tricky, especially if it's 2:00 in the morning.
Of course.
You might be on Neil's course and you're working with the community outreach team, who might be out at 7 or 8 o'clock at night. So if you can't drive, it might be worth investing in something really practical and thinking, actually, is this the time that I need to?
Great. So let's say if somebody hasn't made the application as yet, can they still apply for
Of course
2026?
they can. Yes, absolutely. Clearing will be open very, very shortly. So if you're looking to apply as a direct entry student, please just get in contact with us. Happy to show you around. Drop us a line. Drop us an email. Turn up. That's absolutely fine. We're open for business.
Great. And when you mention clearing, we do have a clearing open day coming up on Saturday, the 15th of August. And you can book online, which is www.solent.ac.uk/open-days. And Neil, what about in terms of anything as prospective students want to know about your particular course? Is it the website or can they contact you direct?
So there is a lot of information on the website,
Yes.
which also has my contact details. If you go to, there's a Meet the Team part and my contact details are there. I'm really happy to talk to anybody who's looking to apply or just thinking about it or wants to understand more. I say open days are fantastic to come along to, and my team are always there. But we have many different ways. And if there is a question that comes in and it's gone to somewhere else, the university normally forward it to me, and I'm really happy to catch up and chat with people. I was thinking about when some people worry about when they apply because
Yes.
a barrier might be I'm going to have an interview, and we
Yes.
mentioned it earlier. If people do apply and they're offered an interview, what we do at Solent is that we actually have an interview drop-in session, which is online, where I will have a chat and explain about the process and reassure people and help them prepare for that sort of thing. So that's really good. And we've got some videos online as well.
That's fantastic. So there's a lot of support available
Yes.
for students, so they shouldn't really worry, but they should get to an open day.
Absolutely.
So the next one is Saturday, the 15th of August. It's on campus. Just go onto our website, www.solent.ac.uk/open-days. So any lasting words, Karen?
I think my advice to all the students on open day is some people have been thinking about this for quite a while. And I say, stop thinking, take some action, get on the course, because before you know it, it'll be Christmas and half your first year's done.
Of course.
You're on your way to your career that you want.
Wonderful. And Neil?
Yeah, and I would just say, nursing is an incredibly valuable and rewarding career. One, as I say, I've been doing it for 30 years and absolutely it's great. And I would encourage anybody who's thinking about it to explore that at least and come and see us.
Wonderful. Thank you very much to both of you for coming in this afternoon,
You're
Karen
welcome.
and Neil, and hope everybody found this discussion insightful and informative. Can't speak today. And if you want to check us out, www.solent.ac.uk is our website. And if you want to book on an open day, just /open-days.